Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be ranking all of the Injustice 2 characters on this tier list. Now I'm going to be doing it a little different. I'm going to rank the characters upon their worth to the game, should they be on the character roster, and their power and how good they play. And a little some other things like, do they have a premier skin, or what is their impact on the game in total. Alright, so first off, we have Superman. Now, I think Superman he's a pretty good character, but he feels very much like a default character. He doesn't have a lot of cool moves. There's definitely a lot of characters that build upon his mold and are much better. I've never really seen an amazing Superman player. And also, he's a guaranteed, like 100% on the roster. He has to be on the roster for the game. I mean, he's the main DC superhero other than Batman. So, considering that, he does get bumped up a little bit for me. I would say he's usable, but since he does have a premier skin in Bizarro, who is so cool, and he's a pretty powerful, but just kind of mediocre character, and you know he's Superman. I would say he goes into the based category, just because of all of that, and he'll definitely not be the number one in based category. So yeah. Alright, next up we have the Atom. Now, the Atom is one of the best characters in the game. I mean, he's so fun to use. When he goes small, it is one of the funnest things because you can just trap your opponent over and over again. His super move is super cool. And, you know, he's a great addition. I mean, it's awesome to have more B-list characters in the game who are also pretty essential to the DC mythos. So I would put him in the God tier for now. I mean, obviously he's not the top one in the God tier, but he just barely scratches it because he's a good character. He has a good super move. He's an amazing addition to the game. All right, next up we have Catwoman. Now, Catwoman is okay. I mean, she's fun to play as, and it's good to have her in the game, but considering we got her in the first game, I would really rather prefer that we had someone like Batgirl or Nightwing in this game rather than Catwoman. I mean, Catwoman's a great choice, and she's okay to play as, but, you know, she's not really an essential member of the Bat family, in my opinion. I would rather have had many more people, so I'm going to put her in rather not, just because she's not the best, but she's not the worst. Alright, next up we have Black Manta. Now, Black Manta is a very special one. I think Black Manta is amazing. I mean, he's really, really, really not fun to play against. He's really OP, and I always get destroyed when I play against him. And when I play with him, I don't do that good because I'm just not that good with those types of characters, but he's really hard to beat, and I find that fun. And also, it's great to have a villain for every Justice League hero in the game. So I would say I'm going to put him at the top of the based category for now, and I think he might stay there for a while, just because he's one of the better based heroes. Alright, next up we have Blue Beetle. Now, Blue Beetle is very, very, very fun to play as, and very easy to play as. Is he the best? No, but, you know, on the roster, it's nice to have more C/B list heroes. So that's what I like about Blue Beetle. It's fun that, like, Blue Beetle is in this game. It's fun to have that character available to play. I would obviously have preferred it was Ted Cord and not Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle, but, you know, that's not really that bad, and the voice actor is a little annoying, especially the grunting. So, you know, Blue Beetle isn't the best, but he's not the worst. So I'm going to put him right above Superman in the based category for now, and I might move him down a little bit in the future. Alright, so next up we have Deadshot, and a lot of people really love Deadshot, but I've never really understood the hype. I mean, he's not really my favorite player to play as. I mean, he's fun, he's a great addition to the roster, but Deathstroke is so much cooler. And I know that this game came out kind of close to when Suicide Squad came out. That kind of explains why Enchantress is here, and Harley Quinn, and Deadshot. So he's not my favorite, but I would have really rather preferred Deathstroke. So for now, I'm going to put him at the bottom of rather not, and I think he's going to stay there for a while. And I know he's fun to play as, and I definitely like playing as him, and I know people can be so good with him, but all in all, I would have rather had someone else, and he's really not my favorite. He doesn't have any cool skins, and his shaders are kind of lackluster, so he's going to go near the bottom for right now. Alright, next up we have Black Adam, who's fun to play as, but I mean, Black Adam, but no Shazam kind of feels weird, and it's kind of weird just not having Shazam, but having Black Adam. I'm also not that much of a Black Adam fan. The accent is kind of annoying to keep hearing over and over, and he's just not the coolest, but he's pretty good, and he's pretty fun to play with. So I'm going to put him in usable for right now. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's the worst. I think he's very, very, very mid. Alright, next up we have Bane, who is very, very, very hard to beat and also very, very fun to play as. He has some cool shaders, and overall, he's a cool character, but another Batman rogue? I mean, come on, that's a lot of Batman rogues in just this very small character roster. So I'm going to put him at the top of Rather Not, because honestly, over all of these characters, I would never pick Bane over any of them. Alright, next up we have Enchantress, who is hard to beat, and she's okay to play as, but it's such a stupid choice, and I understand why they put her here. I mean, when the game was in development, they knew Suicide Squad was coming out, so that's, again, why some of these characters are here. But I would never want to play as Enchantress, and I don't think I have more than twice. So I'm going to put her at the very bottom of Rather Not. She's not Justice League level bad. She's not the worst character here, but I would never want to play as her. Alright, next up we have Atrocitus, and Atrocitus is just so cool. Like, I know he's definitely not the best choice. Sinestro would have been much cooler, much more essential, much more iconic, but Atrocitus is fun to play against, he's fun to play as, he's a cool addition to the game, and Dexstar is awesome. I mean, I have a cat, I love cats so much, so having a little Red Lantern cat is the coolest thing ever. So I'm going to put him in the middle of base, right above Blue Beetle. I don't really play as him that often, but I like playing against him. I like the cat, I like everything about him. Really a fun character. Alright, next up is Batman, and obviously Batman is Batman, so he has to be on the roster. He's amazing, he's very fun to play with, not so fun to play against. He can become very annoying after a while, but he's one of the best characters in the game. I mean, he's the main character of the story. And, you know, Batman's Batman. I don't have to explain myself as to why he is at the top of God tier for right now. Obviously, he's not going to stay there because he's not the best character to play as, but he's one of the best, and I would definitely put him up there. Alright, next up we have Firestorm. Now, Firestorm is the same situation as Blue Beetle, which, funny enough, they're both in the storyline together, but any chance I would get, I would choose Firestorm over Blue Beetle just because he's a little funner to play as, and I like his moves just a tiny bit more. His super move makes no sense. I mean, most super moves don't, but his makes especially the least sense because he has nuclear power, so why would he send you to hell? But I would say he's just a little bit above Blue Beetle in the based category. Alright, next up is Gorilla Grodd. Now, Gorilla Grodd is pretty good, but why would you ever want someone with that big of a hitbox? Why would you ever want to play as Gorilla Grodd? I mean, he needs to be in the game, obviously, because of the story. He's a huge part, and I like him in the roster because he's a good Flash rogue, but he doesn't have a premier skin. He's not that cool. I mean, he's just the giant gorilla. He's fun, but he's not that fun. And I would kind of say he's kind of the same like Black Adam. So I'm going to put him above Black Adam for now, but he could go down later. Alright, Harley Quinn in this game is awesome. I mean, she is just so fun to play as. This is one of the best iterations of Harley Quinn. I mean, the voice actress does a brilliant job. Her skins are all amazing. Her power up with the hyenas is very fun. And I just love playing as Harley, and I love playing against Harley, even though she can become annoying. So I'm going to put her in God tier, just above the Atom. Alright, next up we have Hellboy, who I would say is probably one of the worst characters in this whole game. I mean, I would never want to play as Hellboy. He's not fun, he's not cool. I'm not a Hellboy fan, and he's just not fun to play as against anything. I mean, he's boring and he sucks. So, Justice League. Alright, next up is Aquaman. Now, I don't play as Aquaman too much, but he's a great character. I mean, that's all you can really say. He's very good, and good is based. So, I would put him just in the middle of Firestorm and Blue Beetle. I think that's where he belongs for right now. Alright, next up we have Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy is amazing. She's so OP. Her powers are so overpowered. She's so fun to play as. I mean, and her voice acting is done amazing, and her super move is so cool. So, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but she's really fun. So I'm going to put her just above Atrocitus, which is very high, yes, and I don't play as her too often, but I could definitely see if I got good with her, I could just destroy. Alright, next up we have the Joker, and the Joker needs to be in this game, obviously. But the problem with the Joker is that the haircut is so bad. I mean, God, that god-awful haircut for Joker is so... Like, that's the only reason I don't play as him. He's fun to play as. I mean, yeah, his voice acting is, of course, brilliant. Mark Hamill is always amazing. But why would I ever want to play with that Joker? All of his styles are so stupid. I just... Oh, God, he's so ugly looking. So, honestly, I'm going to put him in usable. But I think I'll bump him up over Grodd just because of how fun he is to play as, and just because it's Joker. Alright, next up is Dr. Fate. Now, Dr. Fate is so powerful in the comics, but here he sucks. And he doesn't suck that much, but he kind of sucks. I would never choose him to play as. I don't think really anyone would. His styles aren't all that cool. So I'm going to put him in rather not for now. I'm going to put him right above Deadshot just because... No, I'm going to put him... Actually, I'm going to put him below Deadshot. Even though I love his look and just how he is in this game, storyline-wise and appearance-wise. But I don't know why I would ever want to play as Dr. Fate. Alright, so next up is Captain Cold. And now Captain Cold obviously has one of the coolest premiere skins in Mr. Freeze. But he's not the funnest to play as. He's very, very strong, though, and I could see people who get really good at him are OP. So I'm going to put him in the top of usable, and I think, actually, I'm going to move Superman below, actually, I'm going to put Joker above Freeze, Superman in the middle of Freeze and Joker, like that, and I think, yeah, I think that works for right now. Alright, so next up we have Raiden. Now, Raiden is good to play as, but here's the problem. MK characters should not be in Injustice at all. I mean, there's no reason they should be in the game, because this is a DC game. We need as many DC characters as we can get. We need Beast Boy, we need Martian Manhunter. MK characters shouldn't be in the game. So, therefore, I'm going to put him at the top of Rather Not, just because he is fun to play as. He's a good character. But I would never play as him, and this is a DC game. We don't need these characters. Alright, so next up is Jason Todd, a Red Hood. Now, I love Red Hood. Here's the problem. His voice actor is so annoying, man. I mean, I can't listen to him for more than like 5 seconds. I don't know what it is. He sounds so animated, so he's overacting. And also, Red Hood kind of sucks. I mean, I've never been able to use him very well. Maybe it's just I haven't found who he counters very well with, but I don't like playing as Red Hood. I'm gonna put him in usable just because we need this character in the game. Obviously, he's very essential, but he's just not very fun to play as. He's not very good, and his voice lines are also so annoying. Same with Firestorms, but to a lesser extent. So I'm gonna put him just below Black Adam, yeah, but above Raiden. That seems fair. All right, next up we have Black Canary. Black Canary is great. There's nothing else really to say. She's fun, she's great, she's balanced, and she goes into the based category, obviously. I'm going to put her above Firestorm. She's not better than Atrocitus, but she's not worse than Firestorm. She's a really middle ground character. She's really easy to use. She's really fun to use. Alright, next up we have Cheetah. I hate Cheetah. Is it because of Wonder Woman 84? Yeah. But also, I don't know why I would ever want to play as Cheetah. And I never will play as Cheetah. I'm sure she's okay. But no. So, Justice League. Yeah, below Hellboy. Alright, next up we have Robin. Now, Robin's okay. I mean, he's very fun to use, but he's not the best. The thing is, he's kind of very mid, because he's hard to use, but he's fun to use. And honestly, there has to be a Robin in the game, so I'm going to put him at the very top of usable, but below Joker, just because Joker's so easy to use and fun to use, but Robin's a little hard to use. I'm using a lot of the same terminology here, so I apologize for that. But, yeah, Robin's just not that great, but he's not that bad. So, yeah, he goes in the middle. Also, Damian Wayne sucks. I hate Damian, so obviously I'm going to put him a little lower. next up is Scarecrow. Scarecrow sucks to fight against with most people. I mean, I hate fighting against Scarecrow, and I can't really fight very well with Scarecrow. So I'm going to put him in rather not, just because I would rather not play as him. I'm sure he's okay. I'm sure he's fine. Also, why is there another Batman rogue in this? The only Batman rogues that should be in this are Joker, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and I would love to see Two-Face eventually. But I'm going to put Scarecrow at the very bottom of rather not, just because I'd rather never play with him. Alright, next up are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're great. They're so fun to play as. They're so hard to play against. They're some of the best. But again, the problem is I don't want these other characters in my DC games. And I know that the Batman has crossed over with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that does raise him a little bit, but not that much. So I'm going to put him at the very bottom of based, but he is better than Blue Beetle. Not better than Aquaman, but I'm going to put him there. Alright, next up is one of my personal favorites, Starfire. Starfire is amazing. She's so overpowered. She's such a great inclusion. We need more of the Titans. I love Starfire. She definitely goes at the top of God tier. She's just amazing. One of the best characters we've ever gotten in any of these games. And having the original voice actress from Teen Titans come back is so nostalgic. Her voice lines are all funny, and I just love having Starfire in this game. Alright, next up is Brainiac. Brainiac's okay. He's just okay. So he goes in the middle of rather not. I would say he's better than Fate, but he's not better than Deadshot. I don't know, man. I mean, you need to have Brainiac because he's the main villain, but they could have made him a little funner to play as. I mean, he's just kind of very mid. Alright, next up is Darkseid. Darkseid is amazing. He's fun. He's great. But he's a little hefty to use. And I don't know, man. He needs to be in the game. I'm happy he's in the game. He's an essential character, but he's not one of the top characters. So I would put him just above Joker in usable. And I'm finding that I'm putting a lot of these characters in usable, which is good. That means it's a very balanced game. I mean, there shouldn't be that many OP characters, and there shouldn't be that many bad characters. And I think that's what we're kind of learning here. Alright, next up we have Cyborg. Cyborg's great. Another very mid character. I would put him above Aquaman just because he's very powerful, he's fun to use, and his premier skin, which is Grid, is great. Yeah, I like Cyborg in this game, and obviously the voice actor returns, which is so nice. Alright, so I don't really want to put Sub-Zero very high, but I have to. I have to put him at the top of base. I don't want MK characters in any Injustice games, but the problem is, he's so damn good. I mean, fighting against him, he's one of the most OP characters, and I'm tempted to put him in God tier, but I just can't. So I'm going to put him in based, just because I am ranking this list on why they should be in the game. Alright, Swamp Thing sucks. I mean, he's not that good. He's not that bad. He just, like, why would I ever choose Swamp Thing? So he's just okay. So I'm going to put him in rather not, just above Brainiac. Actually, you know what? He's a little worse than Brainiac, but he's not as bad as Kent, so that's where I'm going to put him. Alright, next up is Wonder Woman. She's okay. I mean, I hate her character in the Injustice games, so I'm just going to put her in based, but she is very hard to fight against. But her powers kind of suck. I mean, some of them don't. The one where she hails the gods is so stupid, it doesn't really do much. So I'm sure those people can use her in amazing ways, but she's not all that for me. I'm going to put her near the bottom of based. I'd say she's worse than everyone in based. Alright, next up we have Supergirl. Supergirl's great. She's not one of the best. She's kind of hard to use, but she's great. She's so fun. I mean, having Supergirl here is an amazing inclusion of a somewhat smaller character. So I'm going to put her at the very top of based. Alright, next up we have Green Arrow. Green Arrow's amazing, but he's not as good as the last game. He's a little less OP. And his skins are okay. But I really like Green Arrow in this game. I mean, he's amazing. So this is tough, but I'd say he's just above Supergirl, but he's not in God tier yet. So I'm going to put Supergirl behind him. Alright, we have Green Lantern. Green Lantern is also pretty mid. He's just okay. So I'm going to also put him in based. I know I'm repeating myself a ton here, but I'd say he's just a little worse than Black Manta. His powers are really easy to use. He's an easy to use and fun to use character, and his premier skins are both good. So that's why I'm putting him there. But I don't know, man. I feel like he could be a little higher, but I would just have to get better with some of the other characters to see. Alright, and now my last contribution to the God tier is Flash. I mean, Flash is the best character, and do I main him? Yes, but there's no one better than Flash. I mean, he's so good, and I could see other people preferring other characters, but for me, the Flash is easily the best character here. So I think what we've learned from this list is that this game is so balanced. There's not a lot of bad characters, there's not a lot of super OP ones, and it's really fun to play as most characters. I mean, I found myself repeating that a lot. I don't know, maybe that's just because the game is fun, maybe that's just because fighting games are fun, but I really think it's because some of these characters are really good and really well made, and the game is very balanced. My only problem, of course, is MK characters and Hellboy and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being in the game. I would have preferred DC characters, but for now, I don't really mind that much. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you guys want to go make a tier list, I'll leave the link to this exact one in the description, and then you guys can send it to me on Instagram. What you put, what your opinion is, or you can just say in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and I'll see you next time.